There is no guarantee for success, but there are ways to get closer to it when you do the right things. Who you surround yourself with is just as important as what you do. Finding the right people, the right classes, the right activities, and taking the right tests are all decisions that shape your future. Find out more today on Destination University with Dr. Cynthia Colon. Dr. Colon and her guests will give you the tips you need, whether you're a student, parent, or educator. Now, here is your host, Dr. Cynthia Colon.
You're listening to Destination YOUniversity, a podcast for college-bound teens and the parents, mentors, and educators who support them. If that is you, you are exactly where you're supposed to be. Hello, everyone. I'm your host, Dr. Cynthia Colon, TEDx speaker, college admissions strategist, and author of the best-selling book, Be Committed, Get Admitted. Welcome to Destination YOUniversity. We help college-bound teens create an action plan, become interesting applicants, and write compelling essays that increase acceptance letters. We do this through online or live group classes and private counseling. Consider me your happy success expert. Being here today already tells me that you are looking to get ahead, find practical advice, and take action steps. You are growing the community of happy and well-informed families across the nation. So thank you for joining the movement. Welcome to season 9. Holy smokes. Well, we do our weekly Wednesdays, and that is going to continue, but we're going to do a little spin on the Wednesdays. We're calling this series Better We Wednesdays. I'm interviewing former parents, educators, and college admission folks that can offer key tips and strategies on how to become a better parent, a better teacher, a better counselor, a mentor, or a better student. They'll do that by sharing their own story. I'm telling you, whether you have a college-bound teen that's in middle school or high school, you're going to find valuable information with people that have chosen to give insights and be completely candid. This is gold, I promise you. Thanks for joining us today. So let's dive in. Okay, hello, Mr. Noriega. Good to see you. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing today?
Good. I love that I was able to sort of look back at the students I've interviewed in the past, because I don't interview every student that I work with, but I do interview some. And your daughter, of course, was selected, and she was just so charming. So I wanted to talk to some of those parents, and you were at the top of my list. So why don't you just start by sharing just a little bit about you, your own story? You know, did you go to college? Did you not go to college? What was your story leading up to now?
Well, back in my story, as you know, it's much harder for us when it was back in the day. Have cell phones, we didn't have this and that. You know, we had to actually get up and do something. But with me, it was a little bit harder. I was still 17 before I graduated high school, which made it a lot harder with myself just trying to sign any other paper. So my parents actually had to get involved. My dad was a little bit accepted because the way his train of thought from when he was a kid and being raised in Mexico, it's not the same as in today. You know, and my mom, she was more as in yes, but at the same time, she still thought about it twice. So basically, I actually grew up being a little bit of an athlete. I played football, track and field. I was actually in a swim team as well. But then actually, you know, I applied to many colleges, except, you know, unlike Celeste, I did get rejected to another school, but I did get accepted locally. I got accepted to Southern Cal. But before that, I actually had a car accident, which enabled me on my left knee. And to the day, I mean, I still got the car and everything was good. You know, I'm able to walk and everything. But during that time, it's basically you go to school or they cut you from going. So basically, I get cut. So once I got healed and everything, as I go to community college, the difference is that I had to work at the same time and go to school, and it wasn't easy.
Yeah.
Well, basically, my other thing was military. I actually passed the test. I passed physicals. I passed everything. The only thing I needed was a signature. but I was a minor still. So I needed my parents' signature. Mom said no.
Oh no.
So
Oh no. So you had a lot
uh,
of obstacles sort of in your way. And just before we hit record, you were telling me you were going to be on the practice squad for football at
yeah,
USC, and your injury prevented that. So lots of things. And so, and your story is not, you know, unfamiliar to me. Sort of similar things happened to my mom, and then it prevented her from finishing. But I'm wondering if that fueled you to have a different outcome for your own children. So Celeste is your oldest, and once it became time for her to start in high school, when in her high school years was it clear to you that you needed to start instilling in her that she was going to go to college?
well, it actually didn't start in high school. It actually noticed before high school. I actually started back in elementary. I actually put her in a. I actually wanted to get her involved in outside of school. Had her and I told her, "Hey, let's explore stuff." And by accident, on the 4th of July, before those days, there was like a little fireworks stand across the street. I met these people, and they offered to be a cheerleader for
Mm.
youth football. So basically, I told Celeste I convinced her, and she's been 8 years old, she's been doing that. So she did it in elementary. They went in competition. I'm always been that person that I don't like. I'm not satisfied with first place. I'm always giving her that little extra push where it's like you got to be better no matter what. So you got to better
Mhm.
yourself, prove yourself, because next year competition is going to come back again if you decide to do it, and they're going to get rougher and tougher. And guess what? If you stay with the same routine and everything, you're not going to be first place somewhere. You're going to end up second, third, and fourth. But then I always figure that she's not always going to succeed, and it's actually a good thing to fail as well. That way they
Mhm.
make better. They'll push themselves to make better. They'll fight it harder, even if it takes a little bit of mindset and trying to think about how to do it better. They're gonna get themselves better. It just make a lot of times it's just a little bit harder when it is a team thing. But I always tell her, you know what, Mija, respect is earned, no matter
Mhm.
what. Respect is earned because you showed up, you were there, you did what you had to do. I'm proud of you.
Yeah.
I mean, competitions and right here in Cal State Long Beach, they went all the way to Las Vegas, performed in front of 18,000 people inside of an arena. Not everybody gets to do that. Celeste and a couple of friends got to do that, and that
Right.
made me proud. Because I didn't do it, but through her eyes, I'm seeing it.
Yeah.
You know, there.
I mean, so she starts doing cheerleading, competitive cheerleading, starting at 8, and you get that competitive spirit. I really believe in a lot of athletics and competitions and stuff. I really believe that it instills some kind of mindset for you. And when I met her, she was already a senior by the time I met her at a school. Her school and the district sponsored our essay camp that we came to campus. But she had already had, those. I mean, she was, top of her class with all the almost nearly straight A's, and all the courses, all the APs, and she'd even taken some other courses outside of school with her community college courses. So she had everything that you need to even be eligible to even think or dream about these sort of top schools. So by the time she got to high school, was she self-motivated and self-driven, or were you still kind of nudging her along the way?
She was already self motivated, but as a parent, I always showed her that support. I didn't really have to push her because she always pushed herself. So basically, little details that I did with her is the one that really counted. So basically, I'm always it's like I'm a big sports fan. I'm not gonna lie to you, but with technology nowadays, you can just record.
Yeah.
I just don't know what the scores and everything, and I'll come back home and I'll just put it in. But my kids are first, no matter what. So I'm the one that's driving Celeste. I'm driving my little one to her activities, and I stay there.
Yeah.
I'll sometimes get involved, even though I'm a man, and it's not normal to be around females like that. I'm still making sure there's female moms and everything, making sure I'm respecting. I don't want to have issues with a husband or anything. Or sometimes the husbands do get involved as well, and we're all together. And best thing is that we all become friends. If I can't take Celeste because of work, they'll come pick her up, or vice versa. We do it and we'll push each, and that's what I love for her, Celeste, to see that we all need sometimes help from somebody else, and
Mm-hmm.
that's the time they need some help from us. So basically, when the kids see that from the parents, it helps them push themselves more, a little bit more. How there's this little saying that, oh, it goes from one ear to the other. But in my theory is, yeah, it goes from one ear, but a lot of it does stay inside. Matter do come. And that's one thing about Celeste, that she listened.
Yeah.
She knows the details. She used to get home really late because of the activities. I'm right behind her while she's doing it. I might fall asleep on the sofa, but she knew I was there. She used to be in a computer. I brought her food, her drink, and everything, make sure she was okay. And she noticed all that. And when she
Yeah.
graduated, he told me straight out, "Thank you, Dad. All that little stuff mattered to me."
I get choked up. Those of you who are the listeners, I mean, Mr. Noriega is a single dad, and he just shared with you everything that he did and sacrificed to be there, including staying up on the late nights when she was doing homework, even if he fell asleep on the couch. I love that. Now, when senior year came, I know for me personally, when my senior year came, my mom didn't know, how to help me with the application or financial aid or, really any of that. So I had to sort of figure that out on my own, and she helped me find the right people. So what was your role? Share with us, how you were supportive in a process that that was maybe different. I mean, it's very different now from when, you and I are about the same age. So like when we applied, it's very different today. So what did you do? Who did you lean on to help her get through that process?
I leaned on a lot of different people, especially at my job. Basically, knew what's going to happen. I had an idea what's going to happen. So that particular year, we didn't really plan vacation because I was going to take days off ahead of time, because I knew Celeste, she could just tell me, "Dad, I need this and I need that." So I needed to be prepared. I knew they were going to ask for tax forms and that, and I knew I had. So basically, Celeste always let me know at least 48 hours in advance, 2 days. I notified my job, "Hey, I'm not gonna be able to go because of this and that." They tell me fine, and as long as you let us know what time. And I took days off. I got paid, so that's not the big issue. So I just took days off. And then I actually, every time she asks for something, I go with her. And one thing about Celeste, she's not like, how a lot of kids are, "Oh, I can't be around my parent, I feel embarrassed." No, Celeste's like, she'll hug me in front of her friends, she'll introduce me in front of her friends. And we'll go straight to the college center, and I'll be right there. "What do you guys need? I'll bring it to you guys right now. I don't live that far. If you guys don't mind, I'll be back in 30, 40 minutes, and I'm back, share everything with them, and whatever they needed, I'm there." The only fears I had is basically after, not that moment after. That's what I really feared. But that's more ahead.
Yeah. Well, you just gave a really great tip about that you didn't take a lot of vacation in that year that you knew she was going to be senior, because you wanted to sort of be prepared to have those vacation days available for things that she needed. So that's a really good tip. I never even really thought about that. But whether it was to go visit a college or to go to an interview or whatever you needed to drive her to, it sounds like you were always, able to do that with time, with advance notice. So that's a really good tip. I'm curious. Okay, so say more about what you were just saying. So now we're going to sort of jump to, if you're watching this podcast versus listening, you can see, and those of you who are listening, Mr. Noriega is proudly wearing his Stanford zip up. Celeste was a unicorn. I call them unicorns, those students who are admitted to, the top 10 schools in the country. But she really did. And when I met her, I will never forget, there was a series of classes we were going to have, I think 6 in a row or maybe 8. And she missed one. And Miss Arostegui called her. I don't know if you know this story. She called her and said, "Celeste, what are you doing? Why are you missing class?" And she said, "Oh, I don't know, she had debate team or she had one of her things." And she just said, "You need to get to class." And she did. And one of the greatest things that we find is that when students are coachable, right? I can tell you all I want, this is what I think you should do, or this is what's working about your essay, and this is what you need to fix. And some students take the advice, and some students don't, which is always surprising. But she would come to class prepared, do what she needed to do, get the advice. You know, whether I gave her feedback or somebody else on the team gave her feedback, she just kept on and kept on and kept on. And once she knew that we were on her team, on her side, she kept coming back. So what do you attribute that to? She's so amenable, like open to, you know, teenagers are not always open to, you know, what they see as criticism or whatever. So, but I really think that's one of the great attributes about her. So where does that come from?
Like I said, I've always prepared her since she was little. She's always been a straight A student. You know, she always gives a little bit more than she has to. So basically, even though she was 5, 6, 7, I always prepared her to speak up. Do not be embarrassed. Everybody's just like you. There was a time that her and another child, they were invited to a district to give a little speech about their features and to do the flag salute, which they did. But the other little kid was a little bit hyper, you could say, but you couldn't really understand it. Celeste no. Celeste was calm. She knew how to look people in the eye. Even though she was a child, she knew that she was in a position to speak to an adult with manner, respect, and straight to the eye, not turning around or even having gum in there. No, that's very disrespectful. You got to learn how to respect it. So if you want people to respect you, you got to give that respect back. So I always showed her that courage to speak up, to let people, don't be afraid. There are people just like you. I mean, and I'm doing the same thing with my little one. And that's basically me. I mean, me, myself, I'll be honest with you. I believe in theories. I believe in a lot of sayings. And I always teach that to my kids. So it's like you were mentioning earlier about listening or being a leader or something, or some kids don't want to take advice. One of my things that I've actually seen it from a movie was, you want to be a leader, you got to learn how to follow first to become a leader later on. So a lot of kids just want to jump in without experiencing it. So that's one thing I tell Celeste, you want to be a leader, you got to learn how to listen, especially adults that are there, have been there, and if they see you motivated, they'll pass that knowledge to you as well. But until then, you got to learn how to follow.
Yeah.
So that one will be that leader.
Yeah. So good. Okay, let's fast forward to the month of April of her senior year. What kind of emotional roller coaster was that for you? Or maybe it wasn't a roller coaster, but I imagine that of the whole senior, that was maybe the hardest part for you, or describe it for everybody.
I'll be honest with you. It was really scary. It was decision day. I believe it was April 1st or March or something like that.
April 1st.
We have, it's basically the days before. Time is actually like going faster and faster. It doesn't go as slow as usual. So basically, I told Celeste, I'm still at work. Do you want me to come in early so we could open the letter? Because I don't want you to be by yourself. Because she's worked really hard. And rejection to what she's worked really hard, I know it's going to hurt her a lot. And that was my biggest fear, for her to see her hurt. Knowing that she wanted to go to many colleges, top, colleges, Stanford, USC, UCLA, Pomona, all these schools, Chapman University. And she received a lot of letters, even from college that she never applied. That she actually got accepted to, Alabama, Duke, Notre Dame was like pushing the fact, but her dream school was still Stanford. No matter what, Stanford was like the best one. And basically 4:00 was the moment she had to open. I'm like, Mija, I'll be there by 5:30 because I want to be around you. She got anxious. So she was in video. It was a video conference with me, and I'm right there on the video conference. And I told her, listen, Mija, hug your sister. Please hug her tight, because this might happen. She opened up the letter. She pushed up. I'm like, oh my God, geez. I'm like pulling my hair, all nervous. And she read it along. I got accepted. She started crying. I'm like, and I started like crazy that one of my coworkers came out of the door like, you all right? You all right? Like, man, my daughter got accepted to Stanford. I said, like, what? Yeah. And it was just like one of those moments that I will not forget. But that was my biggest fear, the rejection.
Yeah.
That, I'm pretty sure you know our story that her mom is not around.
Yeah.
And she got, like I said, anxious, opened up that letter, and I'm like, man, if she gets rejected, and I'm very far away, and I can't be there to hug her. But that was my biggest fear, the rejection.
Whew, I'm so glad it worked out. Oh my God. Right? I mean, wow. That is quite a story because it could have gone any way, honestly, right? There's so many students that opening that letter from Stanford didn't end up that fabulous. So, but she did work hard, and she put in the time, and my favorite story of hers, it's in her interview, I think at the very end, she tells a story about when she interviewed at Stanford with this older white male, yes, who asked her if she spoke French as his opening question. And she just has such charm, and she just won him over within the first minute of that interview. And I think that probably played a role too. Look, many students are plenty qualified to be admitted to Stanford that aren't admitted. So there's something special about your daughter for sure. Well, what do you want? So 2 questions. The real question is, what do you want parents to know? If there are parents listening who have a middle school child or a high school child, what do they need to know from you?
As a parent, number one, you got to be supportive, trust in them, be on top of them, be active with them. I know a lot of time because of work, you can't do that. It's really impossible. But that moment that you have, do it. If you're into sports, I understand and all that, but just remember that they're not paying you to watch them. You're paying them because you are watching them. So really, who comes first? Your child or them or whatever else? No, your child is first. So leave that behind. Put your all into your child. Of course, if you got more kids, same way, and have them look at what's happening, what's going on, so they could be prepared and pushing themselves as well, because then they're going to see that their dad or their mom, both parents, are behind them. So my advice to everybody, honestly, for stuff like that, leave it behind and be with them, support them, be there. If you see them that they're on their homework, you see them tired, bring them a bottle of water, bring them some food, a sandwich, any little thing. Be behind them. Ask them, are you okay? Do you need some help? They'll be honest with you, and stay up as much as possible. Of course, you might fall asleep like I did, but you won't forget those moments at all. They won't. You might, parents might think, yeah, they're not listening to me. Believe me, they do listen. They do remember. Celeste reminds me about that frequently. She tells her friends about it. That's one thing about Celeste, that she's not embarrassed about her dad. She's not embarrassed about her little sister. She tells the whole world. I've gone to Stanford a lot of times. I know a lot of her friends, and actually remember me too because of how Celeste talks about me and how much I was there for her. And that's one thing I tell all the parents: be there. And then like I was saying, I follow a lot of sayings. I follow a lot of theories. I'm that type of parent that I don't care what other people think. I care about my daughter and how I'm gonna get her through the stuff. Because other people ain't gonna take care of my daughter. They're not gonna be pushing. And especially the older ways, especially towards a female. The female's only supposed to be there for the husband, get pregnant and cook and clean, and that's it. No, times have changed. Okay. Women, you're the perfect example, have gone very high. And I mentioned it to you at that one meeting.
Yeah.
At you and Ms. Rosigi, that these are 2 very powerful women that they know how to, how do you say, maneuver everything and get themselves up there. And I mean, that's how I would say, be there no matter what. be there, push them, give them anything they need, but you got to know if they deserve it too. And then sometimes what I used to do too is that I'll pretend I can't give it to them, so they'll know how to appreciate it. So let's say, you know how we have El Domingo, the Sunday money. I'll like, Celeste, I don't have no money right now. I had to pay rent and stuff like that. She'll be like, don't worry about it, Dad. Some other day. If you need money, I got money right there. I'll be like, damn, thank you. I'll do well. But I mean, you gotta be there, like I say. I mean, and I'm saying it again, I'm gonna say it over and over again. People might think, or parents might think, that they're not listening. Trust me, a lot of it stays.
This is true. This is very, very true. Well, just so everybody knows, I mean, she's thriving. I mean, last I talked to you, she's gone on to Stanford and made the best of it and more. And, that's the best thing. She's changing the trajectory of her life, and that's what that's what my company is all meant to do, is just help, guide, inspire, and celebrate all of that. So my last question is, what's next for you? I know you have a little one. If she wants to say hi, she can pop over and say hi. But you've shipped one off and now you've got another. So what's happening in your life? Well, it looks like for another 8 years, maybe, right?
Yeah, another 8 years. Basically, I'm actually a little bit more with her. I'm seeing a little bit of athleticism and soccer. We actually went to this soccer clinic right here in the city of Compton, and a former Argentine coach sponsored it, and there was 2 former U.S. players, and she was the only little girl there. And I've never seen this from her, but she does not play street ball. She plays actual soccer, like a more learned. I do have her like a little club thing, and the guy actually said, I work with Loyola Marymount and their soccer team. But then I noticed that you have a vehicle with stickers. Does somebody have a stamp? You have another son, daughter in Stanford? Like, yes. He recommended that I take her over there, and they might do like verbal commitments as well, even at a young age. So Loyola, the guy from Loyola said, if that doesn't work out, come and see me, and we'll work something out for your daughter too. And ownership, I'm like, oh wow, thank you. So, but I'm actually striving for Stanford. We'll be going there in a month from now, and I'm gonna see if I could set up an appointment with their head coach to see if I could get her into a verbal commitment and what programs I should put her in as well.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Look at that. Hey.
But then academics, she's actually I struggled with her. Our story with her mom. She did the wrong decisions. I'm not gonna say the wrong decision with myself. That's like separate to my children. But she did a very wrong decision with this little one, and she lost a lot of her knowledge. And I'm not gonna be afraid to say this, but not the education here. There's a saying in the United States. They're saying this is the land of opportunity. If you take the opportunity, you take it in your hand, it's gonna be there for you. Celeste, for us, is the perfect example.
Yeah.
Celeste, at a young age, she's done so much that I'm still, no matter what she does, I'm still in awe. And with this little one, now that I've gotten more experience, I'm pushing her to be even better. I'm pushing her to do stuff where it won't be just because my big sister. No, I'm doing it for myself. So even if she doesn't attend Stanford, maybe she'll go to USC, UCLA, she'll do this and that, but she'll be because she did it on her own, not because of her big sister. No, I'm training her to be herself, not Celeste, not anybody else. No, she's Jacqueline, and that's all she is. So, and basically a lot of it, of course, is similar to the process, but I'm teaching her to be herself, nobody else. Not big sister. So yeah, I mean, I don't know what else. I mean, there's a lot.
Oh, there is so much. But listen, I want to say this. I'm very proud of you, and I say this to any single parent. And good for you for getting involved, even though, like you might be the only, dad as the volunteer, but there you are. But look, I'm proud of you for what you've done and what you've committed to do for your kids. And that's the job of any parent. The job of any parent is to give your kids the best experiences, the best education you can possibly give them. And then the rest is up to them. So you have certainly more than done that. So bravo. Hey. Okay, I guess we're going to see the little one in a few years. She'll be taking our classes too.
So hopefully.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. And, let's stay, connected and in touch. I definitely want to know when she's graduating. I guess it'll be a couple of years from now, but she's certainly thriving. And then you've got the little one coming right behind her. So anyway, keep doing what you're doing. I really appreciate it. Yeah. All right. Okay. So wave to everybody. Yes. If you found any of this super helpful, please hit subscribe and continue to follow us. We're here every Wednesday for Better Way Wednesdays. And also this season, we're doing Thursdays and Fridays. So share this episode in the next 30 minutes with someone you know who needs this information. And again, I am Dr. C, Dr. Colon, also known as your happy success expert. Bye for now. Oh my goodness. Wow. That is all I have for you today, my friends. Thank you for tuning in to Destination YOUniversity. I'm Dr. Cynthia Colon, your happy success expert. If this episode has in any way helped, fueled, or inspired you, please share this episode with 3 people in the next 30 minutes. Thanks for listening this week. You can subscribe to Destination YOUniversity wherever you get your podcast. And while you're there, leave us a review. It sure does help a lot. By subscribing and reviewing, you're helping to grow the community of informed families across the nation. Thank you for joining the movement. And if you haven't already binge listened to our previous seasons, do it. If you know an 8th grader or a high school student, dive right in and take every piece of advice so that that student can become the most engaging, interesting, and compelling college applicant. I suggest you start with episode 1, where I interview my mother. I promise you'll love her. Everyone does. Okay, once again, if you found value today, please share this episode with 3 families in the next 30 minutes. I'll be sure to see you next week, same time, same place. Until then, wherever you are, may you have a happy and sunny day. Bye for now.
Thank you so much for listening this week to Destination YOUniversity. Be sure to join Dr. Cynthia Colon again and get one step closer to your success.